Do you remember when this is what the voice sounded like in every video on the channel? Oh, yes indeed. Memories horrible. Well, good evening, beavers, heavers, and skeevers. Welcome to Clicky Thicky Wiki, and today I have an amazing treat for your little nice smelling butt. That sounded better in my head. We're gonna look at r/dating advice. Speaking of smelling butts, have you ever gone out on a date and looking for advice, looking for general wisdom, or just want to enjoy fascinating stories from other people's lives? Well, this is the place for you. Enjoy. Mwah. And don't think I forgot about you. Ellison. Haha, are you enjoying the video? Ellison, I hope you are. I'm watching you, Ellison, sitting there on your couch with your little phone watching YouTube videos. Ellison, you're not getting away from the clicky wiki gaze in like a wholesome way. Enjoy. Mwah. How do I still have subscribers on this channel, man? How are they not scared off by now? Alright, anyway. When someone really likes you, it's effortless. Just keep this in mind. They text you right after or soon after. They will be excited to make plans to meet you. They will flirt and ask you questions. They'll seem interested in your life. What they won't do is be unsure whether they are free, leave you on red or wait for hours to reply, not ask questions and give you short replies. Dating should be fun, and with the right person, it is. If you find it hard work talking to them, or if they're always busy, move on. You deserve better. That is so true. That's not to say that people can't be busy, right? But there's a difference between someone being slow to reply to a text once during a workday versus every single time. Another really good indicator is if they cancel on your suggestion, like, hey there girl, let's meet up on Friday night, and they're like, no. If they make a counter plan, it's like, oh no, I'm not available Friday, what about Saturday? That means muy bueno. If they just say no without suggesting anything else, 90% certainty they're not really interested. And that is okay. Rejection is fine, it might sting, but it also means that it's time to move on to something better. Or like one-word replies, someone replying K to your messages or thumbs up and not really engaging in the conversation. They're not interested. They're just being like the absolute baseline of polite. You deserve better, you beautiful being. My father told me this. My father told me this when he walked up on me hiding behind the house while I was bawling over my fiancée, who I had just found out was cheating on me. I know right now you're feeling desperate, angry, hurt, and alone. And the first thing you want to do is get revenge, sleep with other people, and hurt someone too. That is normal, but you shouldn't do that. Don't be like her. Don't go down that path. You should always fall back on your best character. Be the bigger person now, and you've already won. Feel the pain for now. In a month, you'll see what I mean, and so will she. So take your time, be a good man, you'll find someone who actually cares about you. Maybe you'll be alone, but that's okay too. And you still have your life and your character, and you can't throw that away because of someone else who doesn't have any. I've always thought about that every single day for a year now, and it has propelled me to such strength, confidence, love, and happiness. These are such beautiful words of wisdom. And it's not even only true for love life. This could be anything. This could be in work life, friendships, dramatic instances, family, whatever it might be. Stooping to someone else's level when they are doing this is usually not the response because you'll end up being the same character. And to me, at least in relationships, cheating is that kind of thing where even if you no longer believe in the relationship you're in, cheating is not the answer because you're setting the standard that this is my character for all eternity. What kind of precedent does that set for the next relationship? You know, you've already shown that you're willing to cross this line when you're actually in a devoted relationship. What's stopping you from doing it again? It's just kind of breaking a promise to yourself and to any future potential, and it's not good. Just be the best version you can be. It is the most rewarding thing you can do to yourself in the long run. She canceled our date because of my Zodiac sign. I am so looking forward to this. Here's a little bit of spice. I am a bit thrown off by this, but I was cancelled on due to my Zodiac sign. Throughout the week before work, I visited a coffee shop. I go practically every weekday, and I've been seeing the same barista there every morning. We seem to click well. Oh yes, indeed. Well, with our small conversations, and after chatting with her for a few weeks, I decided to offer my number, since she was on the clock. She declined to take my number, but gave me her Snapchat. We chatted a bit on Snapchat and agreed to go on a date Friday. About an hour after that, she said she wouldn't be able to go out with me because she saw on my Snap profile I was an Aries. She said she doesn't date Aries, but it was nice meeting me. Is this something that is common in the dating world? I've never been rejected over my Zodiac sign before, so it's kind of surprised me. Oh my god, that's so funny. I mean, if they have this standard based on who they want to date, oh my god, this random little BS character, we assign to random dates on the character, that's my breaking point, can't do that in a relationship, then it's like, yeah, if that's the biggest priority in a relationship, probably didn't lose out on much, honestly. Like, zodiac signs can be fun. You know, you're sitting with some friends, reading your zodiac signs in the newspaper, gossiping about that prediction about meeting that tall, dark stranger, or whatever it might be. It's also kind of like a predecessor to some personality psychology and that kind of stuff, so it has some interesting nuances to it, but not like this. It's not like a science where just like, oh my god, you were born this date, you have this personality. The world would be so predictable if that was the case, my god. I'm just astounded that so many people actually care about zodiac signs. Like, that blows my mind. She sounds like a Scorpio. I kid, but you dodged a bullet. Good for you. She was a Scorpio. It reminds me of that like double fake I saw at some point where it's like, oh my god, I'm a Scorpio, but I lied to her that I was an Aries so I would get laid. And everyone in the comments is like, oh my god, that's such a Scorpio thing to do. And I'm like, oh, joke's on you, I'm actually a Libra. And this, it's so funny. It is so funny. It's such bogus. I had a very emotional moment with a guy on the first date and then ghosted him. I went on a date with this guy, and afterwards we went back to his place to watch a movie. Things were going good, and then he started touching me and taking clothes off and that kind of stuff and being intimate in various ways. Through all of it, he asked me if I was okay, and I said yes. Eventually he stopped and said, "Are you sure? You don't seem into it." And I didn't say anything, and he said, "You're allowed to say no. You know that, right?" We then started talking about how I'm a people pleaser, and I just go with the flow and do whatever people want. He then continued to talk about how I can't be a pushover and let people take what they want from me. I know this is going to sound silly, but he then put his hand on a personal area and told me to tell him no. He did multiple times and pushed his hands away. He said, "See, there you go, you told someone no." I didn't say it out loud, but I did actually feel good about it. It was a huge weight off my shoulders that I didn't exactly know was there. Like, I finally stood up for myself. I feel so corny actually typing this. He then asked me, "How many guys have you done stuff with that you didn't want to because you were too afraid to say no?" I had no answer for him and literally just started crying, and he held me for almost 10 minutes. After that, he gave me my clothes and said, "Go to the bathroom, straighten up, put on your clothes, and we'll find something to actually watch." I put on my clothes and decided I was just going to leave, and I haven't texted him. It's been a week. He was really the first guy who respected me and was considerate of how I felt. Like how he just caught that I was uncomfortable and took the time to talk about how I felt. As I said, it felt good when he made me tell him no and push his hands away. It was kind of the first time I've said it to any guy who wanted something. I just feel bad and like an idiot after ghosting him after what he did for me. I cannot build the courage to text him. I don't know if I should. What do I do? Please, please, please just contact this man. Even to just thank him for being a good person. You don't need to have the answers right now. You don't need to want to see him again. Just let him know the night had an impact on you and you're still processing it. Yeah, talk to him about it. It sounds like a beautiful experience in that way. That doesn't necessarily mean you have to go through with something else if you don't want to. But reaching out to it to have some kind of closure in the very least is probably a good thing to do for the both of you, really. I mean, I don't know the entire story, obviously, but sounds like a keeper, and sounds like it might be exactly what you need. Of course, way too soon to tell. Stuff might change, and there might be different interest, or life pulls you in different ways, or chemistry is not there, whatever it might be, but as a first impression, I would say it's worth a shot. Sounds super sweet. And issues with standing up for yourself, I think, is a super important topic to talk about in life in general. I've had a lot of trouble standing up for myself when I was younger because I had experienced from a very young age people around me kind of pushing me down and not letting me have my own opinion, or very often just kind of jumping to the assumption I was wrong. And that's difficult when there are people in authority positions over you doing these things, because after a while you will kind of be programmed to assume that if you disagree with someone, you must be the one in the wrong. And that is not really the case, and often not being too afraid of conflict is incredibly valuable, because otherwise you will kind of just bottle it up and then it kind of awkwardly explodes at some point instead, because the emotions will still be there. It's much better to take a firm stand early on when you don't like something, because then it also don't escalate, and people will think you're very diplomatic about it because you don't let conflict escalate. You actually address it early on. Easier said than done, but practicing conflict resolution and how to stand up for yourself is super important and is incredibly valuable. Takes a lot of time, but it's super valuable. I would say a good way to practice it, and that's what I did when I was a bit younger. I had a couple of good friends I loved debating stuff with, whether it be opinions about the world or random stuff or engineering topics, blah blah blah. And that helped me a lot because it made me realize that even if we had a disagreement, we talked about something, we debated, sometimes it even got a bit heated, we were still friends afterwards. And no one was insulting the other one, it didn't lead to any like larger consequences. And that kind of made me enjoy it a little bit more. It made me less afraid of it. So try that with a friend if you want like a practice round. It's quite valuable. Am I, male 35, the a-hole for giving an Irish goodbye to my date, female 37? Matched with this lady on Hinge and the conversation went really well. She even said, I would love to get to know you more. So I asked her if she was free last night and we agreed to meet up at 8. Says she is running late and we pushed the time back twice. Now we're meeting at 9. I get to the bar on time and text her, I'm here. She tells me to go to the bar next door because that's where she's at now. Weird, she really hyped up the place we agreed on, but okay. I get there and there's a woman that looks like her. She's having a chat with 3 older men, all in their mid-50s. Her and I lock eyes and I ask if she's Katie. She says yes and tells me to go get a drink. She then literally turns her back on me and continues talking to old guy number 1. I try to make awkward conversation with old guy number 2 to my right. I don't know these people. She didn't introduce me to any of them. Maybe they're her co-workers she ran into or something. For about 10 minutes, my date just continues to ignore me. I excuse myself to go to the bar and order a drink. It's busy and it takes about 10 minutes to get my order. I walk back to the table and my date turns to me. We talk for about 2 minutes and then she turns her back to me again to talk to old guy number 1. He's telling her a riveting story about his March Madness picks. Sarcasm. I am left staring at the back of this girl's head. Sounds like a bit of a hairy situation. God, I'm funny. For a bit of background, I don't struggle getting dates. I don't struggle getting second or third dates. I'm told that I'm an affable, charming, and attractive dude. Not that it really matters, but old guy number 1 isn't Roger's Sterling Grey Fox. He's more of a Cam Tucker. Never in my wildest dreams would I show up late, change plans without communicating, and then ignore the person I actually made plans with. I would never do that to a date. I drank my drink and gave a good old Irish goodbye. On my way home, I get a text from her asking me to come back. I respond by saying that a date with 3 random dudes I don't know was not on the plan, and she literally turned her back on me. She replies saying, I'm not a shady person. I don't even know these guys, and they're old enough to be friends with my dad, lol. Wait, that doesn't make it better? So you literally admitted to being kinda like douchey on a first date? Comes this easy to you? It's not even like a conscious decision. And then it's like, I would rather talk to these 3 randos in a pub that's not even like the age range of, you know, interesting romance than talk to the date I literally booked the time with. This is not a saving argument. I respond by wishing her the best of luck in finding what she's looking for and have a good night. I go home, order a pizza, and play video games. At the time, it was pretty insulting to have my time wasted like that. Am I the butt for taking off? Oh, not at all. I would have taken off sooner. My God, that is just a massive lack of respect. If your date doesn't even talk to you, I would just walk out after a few minutes. Like, no, you don't have to put up with that. It's a waste of time. Like, if you invite someone out and you both make time for it, the least you can do is respect the other person's time. Like, that's the bare minimum. I approached a guy at the bar today. I, the male, went for a drink alone tonight. Saw a pretty good-looking dude sitting with his friends. Felt like talking to him, so I mustered my courage. Went to his table when he and his friends were kind of chilling on their own, not talking to each other. I asked, hi, I saw you from across the room and I just wanted to talk to you. Do you mind? To which he said, sorry, I'm with my friends. I smiled, said I got it, and wished him a good night and went back to my table. I felt so proud of myself, like the fact that I tried asking him was all that matters, whether his answer was yes or no, though it would have been better if it was a yes. I am neither bitter at rejection nor tormented with what ifs, and this feels so nice. Life is really too short to not take a chance. That is so true. Some of the biggest regrets I hear people talk about in dating is when they don't take a chance, because it's all the unknowns and potential that you keep running through your mind. Just getting a simple no sometimes can be a very nice piece of closure. Of course, rejection is typically not fun, but handling like this is incredibly mature because you didn't lose anything. I mean, worst thing that happens is you get a no and you move on to the next thing in your life. Like, you haven't lost anything. And dealing with it this maturely, having that very simple piece of closure, and also congratulating yourself on just the simple courage of walking up to someone. Mwah! Beautiful, beautiful. This is how the world should work. I am a woman who gives men flowers and they love it. Last night, I, 28 female, went on a first date with a guy, 29 male, and brought him a bouquet of flowers. He was flabbergasted and said no one's ever given him flowers before. He kept looking at him and then at me and saying, I can't believe you got me flowers. And he spent the rest of the night grinning like a fool. Many years ago, I read an article/poll that said over 50% of straight men would actually enjoy getting flowers from a woman, and most of these men even had a favorite type of flower. Maybe it's a power move on my part, but I've given a few different men flowers over the years and they absolutely loved it. Normalize giving men flowers. I think that is so sweet. Like, the gesture is amazing. I think anyone appreciates that. When you show up to a date and you have like a gesture that shows that I have actually thought about this, I genuinely care, and like, oh, it's so sweet. I love this. It's so wholesome. Yes. It's all about the flowers. I am a beautiful little flower. A date got up and left in the middle of a sentence. I am kind of in a state of shock right now. I have no idea what just happened. I was on a date with this girl, we had a couple of drinks and been talking for a couple of hours. She was in the middle of saying something when she looked up and just grabbed her phone and left the table. She came back 10 minutes later and was like, "I'm going home. It was nice meeting you." I was like, are you okay? And she was like, "What? Oh, yeah." And then she got up and left. I really have no idea what to even think about what just happened. It wasn't an instant love connection, but it wasn't anything. Leave in the middle of a sentence worthy. That's never happened to me before. Edit. She texted me a couple hours later apologizing. She said she just broke up with her ex a few weeks ago and he walked through the door with a new girl and she became very emotional and panicked and didn't know what else to do but leave. She said she had a nice time though. I said I've been there before and I wish her the best. And that's that. Yeah, that's true. It's kind of nice though to get that piece of closure, that you know that it wasn't something you said or did, it's something unrelated to it, and I hope she feels okay as well. Stuff like this can really trigger really strong emotions and make you very anxious. I've had that experience myself in the past when you just kind of want to run away and just escape the situation. And if you try to stay and force through it, it just feels claustrophobic. It's so bad. So can totally relate to it. I'm glad you got your closure. To the man who wrote a story about meeting his wife by asking her what color her toothbrush was. You absolute genius! I could never get the dates and I totally suck at anything related to dating. As a last resort, or a sign of completely running out of ideas, I have decided to ask a random girl about the color of her toothbrush. It led to a pretty cool conversation, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but she had just agreed to go on a date. I've played the dumbest card in my deck, and it actually worked! Shites wild yo! That is so good, and it's also beautiful. Sometimes the most silly things can be the best conversation starters. It's kind of nice, and it definitely stands out better than just like, "Hi, oh my god, smiley." I would love that. I could go on a rant about color blindness, or like crack jokes about it. Like, "Hey, look at this color blindness test that shows a peepee," and I'm like, "Oh, there's nothing there." That's a super nice icebreaker, hell yes. Ladies, please make the first move. It is currently midnight. I'm waiting for my LSAT results. Cannot sleep and I have a rant stuck inside me. For the love of God, just ask him out. I cannot tell you how many times my friend have come to me asking why he hasn't said anything yet. Women are not incapable of initiating, and anyone who says they shouldn't needs to check their brain. As a woman, I cannot recall the last time I regret saying something. There is a 90% chance he'll flat out say yes, and if not, he absolutely 100% will be appreciative. Every single guy I've ever talked to has said they would love women making the first move. A confident woman is an attractive woman. Show what you want, show you want him, stop holding it in, suck it up and send that text. Woo! That's how you do it? Yes, indeed. I mean, average statistics might tell you that the mega is more likely for someone to be initiator and whatnot, but if you genuinely like someone and they genuinely like you back, unless they have like some really bad anxiety around or something like that, which can also happen, they will probably say yes. Just think about the times you have been actually interested in someone. If they were to ask you out, would you say yes? Probably. That's kind of the vibe, you know? You already like them. It's already there. The answer is in your little brain. And the same thing is in the other direction as well. And even if they say no, it's kind of like that the girl at the pub. You know, you move on with the closure that you tried. And if they're not interested in you, genuinely, the other way around, it wasn't meant to be anyway. And knowing that and having the answer is also worth something. It's quite nice being able to move on with your life. So, yes indeed. Strong, confident baboink! PSA for men. Stay away from dating apps if you value your mental health. Long post. In this post, I'm going to talk about how dating apps destroy confidence and self-esteem, and essentially dig a grave for yourself to hop right into. First of all, let's make this assumption. You're an average-looking guy. You're not the ugliest kid on the block, but you're also not a giga chad at the gym. Just average. If you were a 10 out of 10, then this advice probably wouldn't apply to you, but most of us are average. That's what average means. Most of us fall into that category. You decide, you know what, I am tired of being lonely. I am creating a Tinder profile. Little do you know, you've just signed yourself on for great disaster. And here's why. Online dating apps are a losing game for most guys. You, most likely, will end up more lonely and sad than before. Start by looking at the statistics. Over 75% of users on Tinder are male. Yeah, that stat alone is, it's kind of just setting how many? 50% of people up for failure, basically? Because 25% match with 25% and like half the rest of the remaining dudes are just that. There you go. Great. So basically 2/3 of men on dating apps are just like excess, basically. That's pretty sad. Imagine you and 2 other guys approach the same girl to ask her out. How would that make you feel? Now imagine you go to the same dating event and there are 25 girls and 75 guys. And all the guys are competing for those girls. Do you feel confident in your abilities? Oh, and let's pretend that 7.5 of those guys are extremely good looking. 10%, I pulled that number out of my butt. I can't find the statistics of how many guys on Tinder get a ton of swipes, but let me guess that the number is 10%. And as a result, here are some of the things that can happen. 1, you don't get any matches, or very few. 2, the matches that you do get, the girls don't really respond. After you spend an hour searching for the best pickup line, they just don't bite. 3, if they do respond, they'll probably disappear after a while. And what's the end result of this? You feel like poo. You ask, why aren't girls responding to me? Why aren't I getting any matches? Am I really ugly or something? And all of a sudden, subconsciously, your self-esteem and confidence plummet. You think, if girls aren't swiping on me on a dating app, then how will I ever be able to pick up a girl in real life? Your confidence takes a massive hit. And the worst of all, it's not even true. You're not ugly, you're a good guy, and you do deserve it. The issue is the numbers are so heavily stacked against you. The same girl that you spent an hour thinking of the perfect first message is probably getting messages from 50 other guys at the same moment. She probably didn't even see your message. Just read this article where a guy created a fake woman's profile to see what it's like. Thomas made a profile girl named Simone, and voila, 3 days later he already had 400 messages, which indeed were an eye-opener for Thomas. 400 messages in 3 days. But because you were under the impression that she thought you were ugly, your confidence now tanked. Conclusion, stay away from online dating apps. You have much better odds at cold approaching a girl at the library than downloading some shiny dating app. And the algorithm on the apps are also made to kind of suck you in. If you haven't used it in a week or two, it's been a few years since I used Tinder, but if you haven't used it for a couple of weeks, it will like shove all the people that have swiped right on you towards the front. So you will think you have the world's game, like, oh my god, I haven't been here for 2 weeks and I already have 5 matches, holy crap! And then, you know, it gives you the normal pool and everything goes back to normal and nothing happens. So it's very much meant to kind of suck you in. I think my own experience with dating apps way back in the day, when I was youthful and that kind of stuff, was the girls I talked to said it wasn't really interesting because it felt spammy. They would like open the app up and have 50 messages, and it just felt overwhelming. It's hard to be interested in something when it just feels like spam and you have to like scroll through it to see if anything is worth responding to. As a dude, I felt that I always had to drop my standard, and it was always kind of disappointing. And that stat alone kind of explains why it felt that way. So dating apps, you know, I've heard success stories as well, but the odds are not amazing, and they are kind of wacky, and the algorithm is made to keep you hooked to the app. So make with that what you will. There are other dating apps as well that I've heard friends have better success with than specifically Tinder. So looking into more serious dating apps might be a good solution if you're not in places in, you know, everyday life where you meet a lot of new people. So yay, good luck. Convincing other dudes to get off the apps to shrink the competition pool. Smart, but I am on to you. Oh yeah, if we just spread that, Tinder sucks for men, and then the demographic gets completely flipped. Oh my god. The few people that made it out are just absolute winners. Oh yes, indeed. No one is busier than someone who isn't interested in you. Just wanted to drop that line here. It hit me real hard when I read it yesterday. In the past, I have definitely tried to make plans with women I was interested in, and have been told I'm just busy. Turns out, nothing ever happened with them, probably because they were not interested in me and just being nice and trying not to reject me. Fast forward to my current situation. There's a girl I'm seeing, and she's really busy as hell. Started a brand new career, working 12-hour shifts, she has 3 kids. Has her kids 3 days a week, and is eating right, hitting the gym, and going through therapy, working on her depression and issues. She has told me she can't hang out due to work or having the kids, but the words "too busy" have never come out of her mouth, and she's finding or making time to hang out with me, or even just something simple like playing a silly game online together for 30 minutes. People will make time for people they are genuinely interested in. Too bad my brain keeps trying to convince me otherwise due to my traumas and issues, but I am trying and keeping all that myself because I know it's my issue. And that quote hit me and helped me realize she's trying and making time, and that means something. That is very true. No one is that busy. People can be slow to reply in certain instances if they're super busy right now, or their phone is dead, or whatever it might be. But the more general vibe is usually like this. It's usually easy to find time with people who are genuinely interested in being with you, because you will be higher up the tier list of priorities, and then you usually have time for it, unless their life is really heckin' wild. So, take with that what you will. Don't get stuck with people and trying to convince them to see you when they're not really interested. You deserve to have more reciprocation in your life.
Not wanting a dog is an understandable red line and not a red flag. So many times I've had guys tell me it's a red flag I don't like or want a dog. It's not wrong to not want a dog. People don't like them for many valid reasons. It's completely understandable that for some people the future with a dog is a red line. But please stop trying to make me and others make me feel bad. It's not a red flag.
I think there's a very big difference between a red flag and like a lifestyle preference. Dogs are amazing, in my opinion, but it's also an incredible life adjustment. You have to walk out with them multiple times a day, you have to pick up their poo, you have to vacuum clean all the hair, you have to be mindful of friends or family with allergies. It is a big transition. And also if you have, a car, you will have to have a cage in it, so much less luggage in a car. It is a huge deal to have a dog. So saying that it's not something you want in your life is simply a expectation or a preference, not necessarily a red flag. Those are incredibly different things. When should I let a girl know I have a micro-personal thing? A serious question. I feel like I don't want to surprise anyone, but I also don't want to say it too soon if it's creepy. During a conversation about intimacy, it's bound to happen if things are going smoothly. Got it. My husband told me on the first date because A, he wasn't ashamed, and B, wanted to make sure I could leave before anyone cared too much. We didn't have any intimate activities for a while afterwards because we were taking things slowly, so the conversation didn't create pressure or anything. It's fine, by the way. We have good chemistry and find good angles. Oh, that is so sweet. Having expectations in dating life and stuff, especially if it's things that you might think can be deal breakers or very specific preferences or whatever it might be, bringing them up early, but not too pushy, is probably a good idea, because it's also when people are the least amount invested. It's probably a disappointment to be dating for 6 months and then you realize something is a deal breaker or you're heading in completely different life directions. That is always much more difficult. And also doing it earlier on, like I said, if it doesn't come off as pushy or creepy, is also a good way of getting through more people, if that makes sense. Finding a good match increases if there are more people to pick from, kind of, that's sort of how it works. And part of it is a numbers game. So doing stuff like this early on and kind of like filtering things out might increase the likelihood of finding someone that you'll be truly happy with. It's just math. My god, we can write an algorithm for this. I did not enjoy my first time. 24 male. I was with a girl last night and she knew this was my first time. She was very kind and tried to keep me comfortable. She was able to do naughty stuff, but I couldn't finish and felt it might be due to the fact that I watch adult films. She wants to meet again. I'm confused as I don't know how common it is for guys not to be able to do everything the first time. Should I meet her again or try once more? Or should I message her that I need to take a break from this intimate stuff? Edit, didn't think it would blow up this much, thanks everyone for their advice. I feel much better knowing I'm not the only one that felt this way, and I'll definitely cut some of the adult films out of my life. I would say don't be too pressured on doing everything perfectly the first time. Getting comfortable with something like this, and especially with a new person, which, this is the first new person for you ever, it's okay to take things slow. It's okay that it's wonky, and that is perfectly normal. I would say it varies so much between individuals. I've had people that are super easygoing with intimate kind of stuff, and they can get into it very easily. Some people need a lot of time and a lot of adaptation and need to get comfortable first. And any kind of preference is completely valid in this case. It's about finding someone who reciprocates it and is willing to be patient with what you need, and the other way around as well. So don't be ashamed of it. This is surprisingly normal, and you got this. Just take it easy and get used to it and get comfortable, and it's allowed to take time. Why it is important to have female friends as a single guy. Okay, so tonight I was hanging out with my friends at the local bar when a group of 4 girls stationed themselves rather close to us. My friends were all taken and had their SOs with them except myself being single. Naturally, they were egging me on to make a move on the cutest girl in the bunch. Approaching a bunch of girls that large is quite daunting, so I quite reserved up until one of my friend's girlfriends, we'll call her Ashley, informs me that she has noticed the cutest girls of the group throwing glances at me, and I should definitely talk to her. I noticed those looks too, but I didn't think much of it because we were close to the group and I simply assumed that she was just looking in my general direction. So it didn't register to me that she might be interested in me until Ashley pointed that out to me. So I decided, why not, and waved at her. She waved back with a really cute smile and then gestured to Ashley as in a way she was non-verbally asking if we were together. Ashley responded by pointing to her boyfriend and the cute girl nods in return. I looked to my friend wondering what just happened. She laughably goes, "She thought we were together and I just pointed to Jake, so now you have to go talk to her or you're gonna break that cute girl's hearts." I grabbed my drink and approached her. Here is where the real fun begins.
"You guys aren't together?"
No, that's my friend. Her boyfriend is right there.
"Oh, okay. Like I didn't want to entertain anything while your girlfriend is standing literally next to you. Haha."
Yeah, no, you're fine. Honestly, I wouldn't even be talking to you right now if it wasn't for her. I just didn't think you'd be interested.
"Well, I assumed you two were together. I was trying to be slick about it, but obviously failed miserably. Haha."
This is the very reason why I think it's important to have female friends, especially if you're single. They have a keen eye in noticing hints women toss towards men, since they do the exact same thing. It's much easier for them to spot on the fly.
That is so sweet. Oh my god. Ultimate wingmaniness.
Hey there, you noticed a hint from across the room?
Go get him, boy!
Yes! That is so wholesome, I love that.
Why hasn't he kissed me? I, 32F, met a lovely man on Tinder, 35M, and hit it off immediately. We have gone on about 5 dates lasting the minimum of 6 hours each.
You see, Tinder success story, heck yes, is not only good or bad, there can be multiple outcomes.
He texts me every single morning with a good morning video. He checks in multiple times a day. He's always saying how he's thinking about me and wants to spend time with me. He has sent me flowers and is a total gentleman. But he hasn't made a single move. Not even hand-holding. He will hug me a lot, but that's all. I'm so confused and I'm afraid to mess it up by moving faster than he wants to. Why hasn't he kissed me or even gotten close? I'm worried I'm friend-zoned. I really like him. How do I move things along without freaking him out? Edits. You are all right. I shouldn't be waiting on him to make the first move. I have 2 lips as well. He's the first person that made me butterfly nervous and shy in ever. I guess I was just worried that I would mess things up. Which, as one commenter mentioned, is what he might be worried about as well. This is my first time single in 10 years and a lot has changed. Me too, for instance. So tomorrow, when we make dinner together, I'm just going to do it. I'll update you all later. Thank you guys so much for the advice. The date is tomorrow.
Oh my god, yes indeed. This is why it's so nice to reading stories that are a little bit old, because all the updates are already here. The spice.
Update. I kissed him. I just came home from our 15-hour dates. While making dinner, I asked him why he hasn't tried to kiss me. He said he wanted to make sure I was comfortable with it and said that he was worried he might mess things up between us if I didn't want to kiss him back. That he was having such a great time with me and didn't want a chance of turning me off. And like most of you predicted, he then asked, "Well, why didn't you try to kiss me?" I responded with I really want to kiss him, and I asked him if I could, and then I did! It was phenomenal, and we were both very taken aback. You've been all incredibly supportive and helpful. Thank you all so much.
That is so sweet. Yes, do it! Oh my god, if you're both obviously into it, maybe, here's the thing. I think it's so often occurring in dating and that kind of stuff that if both people are leaning towards like the slightly more, laid back side or nervous side, for example, it's so easy that both people just get completely stuck by their nervousness. What if they don't want to kiss me and they think the exact same way the other way around and then nothing happens? But as soon as one person just makes the move, it just works. It just clicks, if you will. God, I'm smooth.
I don't want to be a 30F virgin, so I'm 28 and a female. I have never been in a relationship before. I haven't even gone out on a date. I grew up in a religious household where I was literally forbidden from talking to guys. If my mom ever finds out, she'll flip out. This fear was instilled in me for a good portion of my 20s. I don't have any essential skills when it comes to building intimacy. I get extremely flustered when a guy approaches or flirts with me, but I don't want to remain single for the rest of my life. How the frick do I start?
Yeah, that sounds like a destructive background. Like, in your 20s? I can see like an overprotective parent do this like during teenage years or something like that, but in your 20s? What's supposed to happen? Like, be single till you're 45? That doesn't sound very nice. Baby steps. You're in control. Vocalize your desire to take things slow. Be courteous and share this information with those who earn it. Go out with the goal of getting a kiss, not losing your virginity. Proceed at a rate that is comfortable to you with someone who you feel won't take advantage of you. That is a really good tip, because nothing comes just like that. And solving something like this doesn't necessarily come overnight. The pun sort of intended, I don't know. But taking baby steps is incredibly important, and gradually learning the different steps because you haven't been there yet is also very, very important. And also another thing, don't set up arbitrary rules for yourself. Oh, within this month, this and this and this must have happened and No. Allow it to take the time it takes. You know, it is perfectly fine, and it is a lot getting used to. And if it takes even a year or 2 years, that's perfectly fine. It doesn't matter. It will make you happy, and it's the long game that matters. Hang in there and take baby steps. You will make it. Women, pretend you're a guy for a minute and say how you would hit on yourself if you were a guy. I'm asking the women on this thread to put themselves in a guy's shoes who's hitting on you. How would you approach yourself if you were a guy? What would you say? What would you do?
My husband picked me up by saying, "Hey, sorry to bother you. Can I pick your brain about blah 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 blah?" After we got married, I told why he did that, and he said he wanted to talk to me but wanted me to take the lead on the conversation. It worked and made me feel really smart and interesting.
That is, so smooth.
I probably wouldn't. I'm not really my type.
Oh God. She has OnlyFans. I, 23 male, have been dating this girl 19F for 8 months, and I want her to be my girlfriend. But she has an active OnlyFans account, and I don't like that. She uploads very provocative photos in erotic lingerie, not completely nude, and I would like to be the only one to see her like that. She is the best girl I ever met. She has everything I look for in a girl and is really into me too. She wants to be my girlfriend. For the last 2 months, she's been indirectly telling me that she wants to take that step. I see myself spending the rest of my life with someone like her, but this OF thing makes me feel insecure. I've never expressed how this makes me feel because I thought it wouldn't be that bad and I couldn't get over it, but I can't. Maybe if I tell her how I feel, she will just delete her account, but a part of me thinks that it's not fair to ask her to do that. So, is there some way to make me stop feeling insecure, or is it okay wanting to have exclusivity not only for the naughty stuff, but for those kind of pictures too? Update post. I am so happy she's my girlfriend now. I didn't have to give an ultimatum. I just told her how the situation made me feel and she deleted the OF. I told her that part of me was insecure for starting a relationship with her, but another part of me felt it was unfair to make her change for me. She then told me that she had no idea I was feeling this way and I should have told her before. She told me that I had changed some behaviors that I had that made her feel insecure, like some kind of stuff, and she reminded me how important and valuable I am and that her OF isn't even close to be that important. I was afraid of having to let her go. Now I feel so relieved. Remember to always communicate your insecurities with your partner. Don't be afraid of the outcome. That is so sweet. Communication, no matter what the thing is so important. And it's not like one solution is the way for everyone. Like some people would feel insecure about certain things and other people won't. It's important to communicate your relationship with your partner and see how you can make it work, or if it's compatible. It is so very important, and not one solution fits everyone. I'm so happy to hear it actually worked out. That is so sweet, oh my god! Well, laddies, lasses, and lasses, I do hope you'll be real freaking players on the dating market after this video, oh my god. And I hope to see you in the very next video. Have an amazing rest of your day, and I will see you in the near future. Take care. Mwah.